Up next for a review, a horror movie that's scared of commitment. Hello everybody and welcome to RotD Review of the Day, and today I am taking a look at the 2018 movie, He's Out There. This was, as it turns out, some sort of weird hybrid. It didn't quite know where to land on one side or the other between slasher movie and home invasion movie. And I'm not the kind of person that says a movie should fall into a subgenre neatly and quietly. If you want to straddle that line, all the more power to you. If you want to, branch out and try something different artistically, hats off. Make it happen and make it glorious. But this seemed like while it was doing it, it was also hesitating on either count at the same time, which ultimately led to an enjoyable and I think watch-worthy film that didn't really land with the impact it should have. But to get into more details, let's get into the categories. As always, 4 different categories, each one worth up to 25 points for a total possible score of 100 points. The plot follows a mother and her 2 small daughters going out to the family lake house cabin, what have you, for a vacation. And the father of the family is trailing behind a bit. He has some stuff to take care of back at home. He's about 12 hours behind, but he is en route. Now, between the time that they get there and the time that he gets there, a home invasion movie starts happening. Fairly traditional, a little bit mind-gamey, a bit paint by numbers, but when I say that it was straddling the line between home invasion and slasher, what I mean by that is this was, by all accounts and every tone and feel to it, a home invasion movie. However, they attempted to do it with a antagonist that it seemed like they were trying to set up as an iconic slasher character. He had a signature mask look, which I will admit was actually pretty cool. But it exhibited some of the traits of a slasher. But if we were going to classify this as a slasher, then this has a remarkably low body count. If we're going to classify this as a home invasion movie, then I think that we wound up with something a bit watered down. Regardless, there just wasn't a whole lot of plot to be had. This was a lot of stuff is happening and the characters are reacting to it. One of my favorite things about home invasion movies, the successful ones at any rate, is the cat and mouse aspect to it and how much of a leg up they get on each other and the balance of power that constantly shifts as one struggles to get away and one struggles to come out on top, and the intelligence that both sides portray and how much they butt heads. Sometimes that can get ridiculously overpowered. Sometimes the villain or the antagonist can be just an impossible number of steps ahead or an impossible level of physical endurance for how much bodily harm they're able to take. But ultimately, that's what I enjoy about it, is that back and forth chase thing. And in this one, the fact that she has 2 small daughters with her works in some areas, but as a home invasion movie, it was really frustrating for me to watch. I would say throughout the entirety of the movie. Laura, the main character, the mother there, every time she tried to do something, every time the mouse tried to come up with a plan, she had these 2 stones wrapped around her ankles, and, I need to go downstairs and check on something. No, I don't want you to go down there. Mommy, don't leave us. Mommy, don't go downstairs. Mommy, don't leave out the front door. Mommy, don't do this. Mommy, don't do that. Don't leave us alone. Don't do this. And it was just constant throughout, which is understandable. Kids are going to react in a particular way, and it's not always going to be the way that best serves a fight or flight situation. And I mean that's ultimately the essence of a home invasion movie, is you have a character that's battling against their fight or flight instincts until ultimately fight takes in, and now you have a real matchup. And the characters could never really get out of first gear because of the daughter. or the daughters. And that was frustrating for me as a participant, as an audience participant in this movie to watch. I can understand having the daughters in there as raised stakes. But I think that could have been accomplished just as well with just knowing that they exist. We're going to the lake house. We're going to send our daughters, have pictures and so forth. We're going to send them up to their grandmas in the meantime, something like that. Just knowing they're out there. But moreover, I really think that life itself is stakes enough. In a home invasion movie, it's just basically the survival instinct, the wanting to stay alive. And I think that that is enough. So to have your daughters in there, the only real reason I can think to do that, and this is what I mean by watered down, is to go the extra level of funny games-esque brutality. And it's something that we don't often see, especially in American horror movies. There are some invisible lines that are not crossed, or very rarely crossed. And I don't want to go into any kind of spoiler territory, but all I will say is the only reason I can think to have the daughters there would be to cross that line, and it just was watered down. So ultimately, I think they were a bit of a pointless inclusion, except for dragging the mother down, which as a home invasion movie felt like it dragged the movie down. And that is why, ultimately, I gave the plot 10 out of 25 points. There just wasn't a whole lot there that was terribly interesting or plot-driven. The intent, for all the reasons that I mentioned before, I gave a 15 out of 25. The inclusion of the girls, another problem that I have with this one is... when you have a home invasion movie, the reasoning for why it's happening, I think you really need to have something that is very good, or something that is very thorough, or something that is completely devoid of reason. I forget which movie it was now. I want to say it was You're Next or something like that. But the whole back and forth they had in the trailer there. Why are you doing this? And it's like, because you were home. That's it. Dead simple. And I honestly think the no reason is the scariest one of all. It's simply because you were there and we wanted to. And that's it. It's purely that. Don't read any more into this. I think Funny Games had a really good element to that as well. Or you can have something, an elaborate backstory, an elaborate reason, and so on. This, again, didn't know where to land on that. And what wound up having was a really weak, bad, not very well fleshed out reasoning to it. It had all the reasoning of a slasher film, but in a home invasion movie context, and it just didn't work in that level. So I thought that there were elements of this I did like as a home invasion movie. There were elements of this that I did like as a slasher movie. There were elements that played well and certain scenes that I thought were good, and ultimately where I kind of landed on the intent was a 15 out of 25. It was on just the slight positive side of average. The acting, honestly, I thought was actually pretty spectacular. I gave a 19 out of 25. Yvonne Strahovski was very good as the mother character of Laura. They got real-life sisters, I believe. They share the same name, Anna and Abigail. Pinialski was Kayla and Maddie, the two young daughters, and as much as their characters were frustrating for me, I thought that they were acted very, very well. Very impressive performances on those. I honestly just wish that there was just more given to the characters themselves. So 19 out of 25 for the acting. Actually pretty darn impressed with that. The technical, I also gave a 19 out of 25. This had some very quality camera work, quality of effects. There weren't a whole lot of scares in this one as far as a horror movie goes. It really wasn't trying for a whole lot of scares. Some shocking moments and so forth. Ultimately, I thought that just the effects and the camera work and the editing played out pretty nicely. So 19 out of 25 there. Really nothing I would say that I could complain about on that one. So that gives us a total of 63 out of 100 points. I would not really recommend this one, not out of any purposeful malice or anything like that. It's just because it didn't go the extra mile in one way or the other. It wound up just watered down, and at that point, the best word I can really come up with is a bit forgettable. So if somebody were to ask me, what would be my recommendation for a home invasion movie or for a slasher movie, it's not that I have anything against this one. It's simply that it's just not going to be rattled around in the old mental Rolodex. But if somebody comes to me and says, hey, he's out there in my queue, I kind of want to watch it, what do you think? I would say, you know what, go for it. Have some popcorn, enjoy it. It's nothing that's going to blow you away. It's nothing that's going to stick with you or haunt your dreams, but you're going to enjoy it. It's going to be an okay movie, and I think it's at least worth watching in that context. So that should about do it. That's my review for He's Out There. I thank you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.